All right, let's just dive right in. What we're talking about today isn't some minor tweak to your marketing plan. No, this is a complete teardown, a fundamental rebuild, all powered by AI. And it's going to define who wins and who gets left in the dust by 2026. And we're going to start with a pretty provocative statement. Seriously, everything you've learned about the marketing funnel, about SEO, about trying to game algorithms, I want you to take it, put it in a box, and just forget it. It's time to unlearn it because the rules of the game have completely changed. And this slide, this just lays it all out, right? Look at the shift. The old way was all about broadcasting messages, basically shouting at people and trying to trick the system. The 2026 way, it's a whole different world. We're talking about orchestrating experiences, genuinely informing AI assistants, and this is the big one, treating your consumer as an active co-creator, not just some passive target. So let's really drill down on that idea, because it's the absolute core of this new world, the consumer as a co-creator. Now, I know that can sound a little bit like fluffy marketing speak, but it's not. This is a real fundamental change in the entire power dynamic. Think about what this really means. The goal is no longer just making people aware of your brand. The new goal is to make your brand indispensable. You have to become a utility, a trusted tool that's so deeply woven into a person's life that choosing anyone else just feels like a major downgrade. So, how do you actually do that? How do you become indispensable? Well, you build what we're calling an experience engine. This is the practical tool that completely replaces that old, outdated funnel. It's not an ad, it's a utility. Let me show you what I mean with a few really brilliant examples. First up, let's take a look at a finance or an investment app. What's their biggest challenge? It's our own human nature, right? We're just wired for instant gratification. So how do you make a goal that's 20 years away feel urgent and important right now? This is where the magic happens. Instead of showing you a bunch of boring charts and graphs, the engine makes finance emotional. Yeah, you heard that right. It creates this direct, visual, almost gut punch of a connection between a $5 decision you make today and the life you'll be living a decade from now. And look how beautifully simple it is. The user just says, hey, my dream is to travel in 2030. The AI then generates this incredible visual story of what that future could be. But then, and this is the killer move, it shows them a parallel reality, a branching path. It shows them the future they'll get if they don't make those small, smart choices. And just like that, compound interest isn't math anymore, it's a beach in Thailand. Okay, let's switch gears to a completely different industry, outdoor adventure. Now, their problem isn't a lack of information, it's the total opposite. It's the paradox of choice. You search for a hiking trail and get a million results, a million reviews, and you end up so paralyzed, you just stay home. So the goal here isn't to be another database showing you 1,000 trails. The goal is to be a master curator. It's about slicing through all that noise to find the one, single, perfect signal for you right now. And it does it by focusing on how you want to feel. And just notice the questions it asks. It's not what difficulty or how many miles. It's what kind of escape are you looking for? And how do you want to feel afterwards? See? It's an empathetic approach. And because of that, it gets much richer data and gives you back a story about your perfect day, not a boring spreadsheet of options. Okay, for our last example, let's dive into the skincare world. The core challenge here is a simple one: patience. The results from a new routine can take months to show up, and it is incredibly hard to stay motivated when you can't see the progress day by day. So the experience engine here does something genius. It makes the invisible visible. It takes what feels like a mundane daily chore and turns it into a tangible investment in your future self by showing you the long-term payoff today. So the user gives it a little bit of data, and in return, they get to see two different versions of their own future. It's an incredibly powerful visualization that transforms the product from just a simple cream into a tool for achieving the future you actually want. Okay, so those are some pretty powerful examples, right? But what's the common thread? What makes them all work? Let's break down the actual blueprint so you can start thinking about how to build one of these for yourself. This right here is the fundamental mindset shift you absolutely have to make. And look, it takes a lot of confidence as a brand to stop making your product the star of the show. But when you do that, you allow the user's life, their story, to become the main event, and that is always infinitely more compelling. And that leads us to the first core principle. The output has to be a story, not a list. I mean it. Lists are for old-school search engines. Humans are wired for narrative. So your engine has to give the user back a story where they are the hero. If it just spits out a bullet point list, you've already failed. Next up, principle number 2. You have to gather data through empathy, not manipulation. Ditch the cold, clinical forms. Ask human questions. Ask things like, what are you celebrating, or how do you want to feel? This isn't just about being friendlier. It builds real trust, and it gets you infinitely richer, more predictive data than simple demographics ever could. And finally, principle number 3. The engine has to have a memory. This is not a one-off gimmick. You're building a relationship here. The engine has to remember past conversations. The more a user engages with it, the smarter and more indispensable it becomes. That's how you build a deep, loyal connection that your competitors simply can't break. So let's wrap this all up with a moment of real talk. Because, understanding all this intellectually is one thing, but actually going out and implementing it, that's a whole different ballgame. And this is the hard part, isn't it? We're asking you to abandon a playbook that has worked really, really well for 2 decades. It's uncomfortable, it's difficult, and it requires a completely new way of thinking. And it's okay to admit that. And right now, many people and many brands out there are choosing the path of inaction. They're just putting their heads in the sand, hoping this is all just a trend, convinced that they can just keep doing what they've always done and everything will be fine. But while they're waiting, others are embracing this shift. They are absolutely flying with these new superpowers. They're building these engines, they're developing these new relationships, and they are gaining an unbelievable competitive advantage. So as we finish up, just remember, this change isn't some distant possibility. It's already happening. It's here now. The only real question left for you and your brand is, which path will you choose?